aware of themselves and each other. We'll go ahead and get into our wuxi posture to begin. Just listening to the body, feet hip width apart, and a nice bend to the knees, a little bit of weight to the end of the tailbone, stacking up all the way to the crown of the head, which lifts up as though suspended from above. A little bit of space under the arms as they rest in front of you on columns of air. And just begin to listen to the body, starting at the head. Just observing without judgment anything that you find there. If you need, you can attach a word to it. Working your way down to your neck. Just finding what you observe there. Your throat. Down your arms. Just observing. Now observe the chest and the back. If you come across something and you don't know what it is, ask it if it has anything to tell you. Any requests? Listen to your belly and your sides, your pelvis. Just allowing a soft gaze of awareness from inside of you to land on these areas. I'll let you know if there's anything of note. This body awareness is one of the most important tools that Qigong imparts, because so often our symptoms are questions and requests from our body and mind. And if we only learn to listen, then we can understand what our body and our mind and our spirit needs. Continue moving your awareness through your body, observing your legs and your feet. No need to judge if they're wobbly or sore, just observe it. Know that it is so and move on. And we'll do a little bit of clearing like we often do, inhaling up, bending the elbows, and exhaling, bringing clean energy down into the body, flipping the palms upright, inhaling up, and exhaling out anything that doesn't serve. Inhale up, bring in clean light. Inhale, gathering up anything that doesn't serve, and exhale it out. Once more. Moving anything in the lower body that needs to move, whether it's an ankle or a knee. You can take your knee and circle your lower leg like so. One of my knees is talking to me today. Don't know what that's about yet, but I'll find out. I think it might be my IT band. All right. And letting those legs warm up a little bit, because I do want to stretch a little bit today. So I'm just picking up my knees sort of one at a time, getting the blood into my legs. kind of focusing on self-care today because it's been a hard push the last couple of days, at least for me personally, to take action. And I'm hoping that that's true for a lot of other people. And that I think at this point we all need a little bit of self-compassion to gather up our chi. So we're going to go into one of the brocades, bending for the horse stance. So you want to bring your knees as wide as you can and bend as low as you can without sticking your butt out and bending forward. So you still want to maintain your Tai Chi pole. If you need to point your feet outward to make that happen, that's okay. If you can point them forward without injuring the knees, do that. Please protect yourselves. You know what you're capable of. And we're going to place the hands on the hips with the thumbs facing backwards. Turn over your right leg and exhale down, across, and inhale back up to center. Now bend over your left leg, exhale down, across, and inhale back to center. And alternate. And if you need to do this seated, you can. Just on the edge of a chair. This is a way of clearing the heart of anything that's impeding it. The heart is meant to be empty. I know your legs are probably feeling this. We'll just do this another couple times. Trying to keep the spine straight. You're just folding over. And come back to center, letting go of that bend. If you're like me, you got a little warm. I remember my Qigong instructor just peeling off layers as she went through class. So I am becoming her, which is lovely. She's a wonderful human. Coming back to Wuxi posture, just do a very quick scan from head to toe and see if any of those things that you noted have changed. See what's different. The name of that brocade is really funny too. It's like wagging the tail to dissipate heart fire or something like that. Always gotta have a funny image. Or at the very least a dramatic one. And now we'll play with chi a little more. Gather chi and raise it. We're doing pearl, push, and pull. Expand, contract, lower, and disperse. So you inhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and keep exhaling. That's how I like to do it, at least. I like to think about that principle of thermodynamics, that everything has an equal and opposite reaction, right? So we have pushing and pulling, expanding and contracting, lowering versus raising, and dispersing versus gathering. So these are just yin and yang. That principle of thermodynamics is the same as what the ancients observed and called yin and yang. See if you can feel resistance to your hands as you do this. Really feel that the air is resisting you. And this is a time to talk about Qigong hands as well. I've talked about this at least once before. So you'll notice that I very rarely bend my wrist. And when I do, it's very gradual and not snappy and not pulling back super hard unless I'm doing a stretch. So I'm just turning so you can see sort of a profile of my wrists. So ideally, they remain pretty straight the whole time, and the reasoning for that is to allow the chi to flow from the chest all the way to the fingertips and back. Just do this another couple times. Before we let go of that motion. And come back to Wuxi and listen again. We've done a couple of things. How does it feel to have moved Qi both up and down and in and out and away and towards you? All right. So while we're on the topic of nourishing ourselves and making sure that we have the energy that we need to take the actions that we need to take, and that we're not letting ourselves get totally exhausted by what's going on in the world right now. I want to do a little bit of that nourishing each of the dantian, each of the centers of qi in the body. So I'll just turn so you can see the sort of locomotive motion of this guy. It's a little silly, but the idea is this circling motion. The knees and the breath are coordinated. So as the knees bend, you exhale, and as you inhale, they straighten. And see if you can feel the push and pull of your hands against a point a couple of inches below your belly button and straight up from your perineum. So it's like right at the core of you. And when you do this, it stirs. If you can put your attention there. So my attention is on that dantian, that spot a couple of inches under my belly button and deep inside of me. That's where my attention is. And my hands are just kind of along for the ride, helping to generate this stirring. And we'll go ahead and transition up so that we're nourishing middle dantian, which is at the level of the diaphragm. So the only difference is that your hands are a little higher in front of you. And see if you can keep your attention on that spot inside your diaphragm and feel how it changes as you breathe and as your hands move. Or you might feel it in your stomach. Hopefully, you're feeling some good stuff. We're still pumping the knees, and the knees, the legs in general, are nourishing the earth channels that run through them. So as you're pushing off from the ground, you're nourishing the earth, and the earth is the dominator of this middle part of the body. And we'll just do this another couple times, and then we'll finally get to our last dantian, which is upper dantian, which is a little higher. So now the dantian that you're feeling is kind of right at the center of your sternum, but back a little ways. So basically the heart. You feel that push and pull. Feel that part of you stirring. Just a nice, gentle, nourishing thing to do. We've done a lot of heavy work this week. I want to make sure that we're all staying strong. I'm going to let go of that, come back to wuxi, and listen for a moment to the body and see what it thinks of that last exercise we did. Checking my time. Okay, 10 more minutes. And now I want to do a little bit of qi bathing. So if you're able to just gather qi and have qi between your hands, that's lovely. You can just go ahead and begin directing. I would recommend right now to your throat, to your heart, to your kidneys, plus any other places that when you listened to your body earlier were talking to you. If you need a little bit more of a charge, if this doesn't do it for you, let's do Buddha palm. So this is just having the palms upright. Again, you're wanting your wrists to be relatively straight. So we're not doing that, we're not doing this, right? Nice, like you're picking up a shelf with your hands. Something made a chiming sound, so we're just going to mute that. So you're just standing then in your wuxi posture mostly, with the exception that a little bit of space under the arms and the palms up in front of you. And imagine clean, bright light entering the palms, right at the center part of the palm, Laogong, pericardium point here, pericardium 8. So the sun is hitting your palms and filling them with light. And even if you're inside, even if you're not somewhere where there's a lot of sunlight, see if you can feel it. Still, it finds you wherever you are. When you feel that radiance building in your palms, then gather and point the energy wherever you need it. If you need to recharge, come back to Buddha Palm. Remember to have a little space under the armpits. Leave a little space for heart one, utmost source. Because how can you gather chi if you don't have access to the utmost source, if you're cutting it off? Just right behind the rib cage. Just bathing in the warm light that you've cultivated. Where intention goes, chi follows. That's what we're using right now. I'm just coming back to Wuxi posture when you've done that a few times. If you're still working, you can still work. Bring energy to your heart, your throat, your mind, anywhere that's asking you for support. Maybe you have some low back pain or some hip concerns. You can bring that energy wherever you need it, just gently massaging the sinew channels, which are on the surface of the body and govern movement. So if you have a pain that's with movement, just take that chi and gently touch the skin there. See what happens. You might be surprised. And the rest of us will go to Wuxi and wait for you. You can even remain in Buddha Palm if you want. Continue to gather. Free chi this time of year, lots of it from the sunlight as the summer rages. I'm checking my time, 5 minutes, okay. So let's just hang out in Buddha Palm for a little while. If you're feeling like you need to work with something emotionally or in society right now, I want to teach you a little bit about parallel breathing. So parallel breathing is when you breathe clean lines of energy up and down through your body. So you can breathe, for example, up from your feet to your head, and then back down again to your feet as you exhale. Or you can do it the other way around. With what's going on in the world right now, I would recommend everybody breathe up and then exhale down. So let's work a little bit with that. If there is an emotion that's inherent to you right now, that's yours, it's your business, then you can place it inside your own dantian and breathe those clean energy lines through it. So if you have something very personal to you, I recommend that. If you want to work with the emotions around the protests, if you want to work with the emotions that we are collectively feeling around the pandemic, I recommend not putting these inside of you, because that can be a lot. And it takes really, really, really good boundaries to do that most people don't have. I would recommend placing the image of the emotion or the image of the protest outside of you and breathing those clean energy lines through that instead. So rather than feeling that energy moving up and down through you, feel it moving up and down through the image that is placed in front of you. So this is a way to bring some order to something that's chaotic within us or within our society. So think of something that is in a state of chaos right now for you. Identify whether it belongs to you or it belongs outside of you. And let's just take a few breaths, placing that either in the dantian or outside of it. And let's take a few breaths through that space to allow these straight lines of energy to organize that chaos. Up and down. And keep doing that until you can feel the chaos settling. Some order arriving. Good. And let go. That's a practice I got from Fritz Smith. Again, he just calls it parallel breathing, and he's the guy who founded zero balancing. And those clean lines of energy are actually what zero balancing is all about. If I find a sticky weirdness in somebody's body, I create a fulcrum up into their body that allows a clean line to move through that and create order out of it. So that's kind of what zero balancing is. You just learned a lot about zero balancing. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And that brings us to the end of our time together. So we'll go ahead and close. Inhale up, bending the elbows, and exhaling down through the front of the body. Up, bend, back of the body. Up, bend, straight through the core of you, through dantian, cleaning out any nasties that remain if you did something within you. And inhaling, palms together. And then up. Thank you, Sun, for all of our Buddha palm energy today. Thank you, Heaven. And thank you, Earth, for grounding us and helping us to bring order to chaos. And let's bow to one another in gratitude for our practice today. I hope that it served you. I want to do my best to help you cultivate energy so that you don't get exhausted during these times. And honestly, it's a little selfish because I needed to do that. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you're not already and you want to learn more about what I do, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/3treasureswellness or learn about me and my business at 3treasureswellness.com. Thanks, and I hope to see you next time. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m.